first of all, let me say that I am a huge fan of Vice President Harris. I have been since I've seen her performances during the Senate hearings. She was my first choice for the Democratic ticket back in 2020, and she's the only choice for this upcoming election unless you want America to become Nazi Germany. Now, having said all that, I do think that she has some weaknesses that I want to go over. The first, I mentioned in my previous podcast. Everyone seems to think that Trump is terrified of debating Vice President Harris and that she would absolutely wreck him if they were to get into a debate based off her performances during those Senate hearings that I mentioned before. And I don't agree with that at all. First of all, those Senate hearings are very different from a debate. During those Senate hearings, Vice President Harris had power over those people that she was questioning, as she was the questionnaire and they were just the questionee. Plus, most of those people who she was questioning, they still had a level of respect for the procedure and the protocol on Capitol Hill when it comes to the Senate hearings. Trump, he doesn't have respect for anything or anybody. I mean, he's the reason why you have to mute the opponent when the other candidate is speaking during presidential debates now, because he wouldn't shut up during the 2020 debates with Joe Biden. And then he and Vice President Harris are going to be on equal footing in the debates. There's not going to be one that has any power over the other. He won't have to answer her questions any more than she has to answer his. And then another thing that I think would keep Harris from completely winning in a debate from Trump is she knows how to dish it out, but she can't take it. And what I mean by that is, like, if you were to go back to the 2019 debates for the Democratic primary, she was doing well when she first started. She was getting all the money and support and winning all the polls after she took it to Joe Biden during the first presidential debate. But then when she was on the receiving end of it, she couldn't handle it. Tulsi Gabbard pretty much ended her presidential run back in 2019 when Tulsi Gabbard attacked her prosecutorial record and Vice President Harris couldn't defend it. She struggled to defend her prosecutorial record, and that's why her run ended so soon back then. And then the following year, she ran into the same problem when she was debating Vice President Pence during the vice presidential debates. He attacked her prosecutorial record in similar fashion to Tulsi Gabbard, and again, Vice President Harris struggled to defend her record. Now, I know that was all about 4 to 5 years ago, and it's quite possible that Vice President Harris has stepped up her game in regards to being able to attack and pivot when it comes to these debates. But, or I should say, pivot and attack when it comes to these debates. But still, I think Trump would be pretty lethal. He, like I said, he doesn't have any respect for anybody, and he's going to hit below the belt, way below the belt, unlike what her previous opponents have done. Another issue with Vice President Harris is, I mean, I know a lot of people are talking about how much love and support that she's been getting since she's announced her candidacy and how she's raking in so much money and she's winning the polls against Trump and so on and so forth. But that still doesn't mean anything. What matters is, are all that going to translate to actual votes when it comes time for the election in November? Because lest we forget, Secretary Clinton, she was getting all the love and support, she was winning the polls, and she was destroying Trump in debates. But then what happened when it came time for the actual election? Yes, she beat Trump by 3 million votes for the popular vote, but that's not what determines the presidency. What determines the presidency is the Electoral College, and Trump handed Secretary Clinton her ass in that part. A very similar thing could happen to Vice President Harris. Now, I'm not saying that it will. I certainly don't want it to. But it could certainly happen. And before anyone mentions it, yes, I know that Secretary Clinton has some other stuff going against her. Like she had the stuff about her emails and so on and so forth. But Trump has stuff going against him too. He had that whole grab him by the pussy tape. And he even had a lot of people in the Republican Party turn against him because of it. But he still won. Now, I hope we have a, a different outcome for Vice President. For Vice President Harris. I would love to have her be my president. I think she would make an excellent president. But it concerns me that so many people actually are acting like this is all locked up, and that she's going to defeat Trump both in debates and again at the ballot box. And it's all very reminiscent of what happened in 2016. I don't want to see things go that way. So instead of everybody, heaping all this praise on Vice President Harris about how she's going to prosecute the case against Trump, how she's going to kill him in the debates, how she's going to win the ballot box. How about we make sure people actually vote and vote Harris when the time comes, so that that actually does happen. But anyway, these have just been my PC political culture musings. I'm Kahoko. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe. Thank you and take care. Peace.